Hi everyone. Hello, Gamarjoba. My name is Pavel, and the topic of my presentation is Are you really a data-driven organization? And before I start, I just want to make a quick poll. Please raise your hand who thinks that his or she's organization is really data-driven as for now. Don't be shy. Okay, I see one hand. And then please raise, sorry, four hands. And please raise your hand who thinks that there is still a journey to achieve this state, but you are moving this journey. Okay, more. And please raise your hand who is not really considering that this is important for the organization to be really data-driven. 2 hands. Okay, thank you very much. So just a quick result of the poll is that most of you who raised the hands thinks that this is important to be really data-driven, but the organization is not yet data-driven. And that's exactly the topic of my presentation, what you need to do and what you need to consider to move forward in this journey. So let me start with a very quick data story. This story is about the first drone highway, which is going to be implemented in United Kingdom between Reading, Oxford, and Cambridge cities. The total length of this highway is about 164 miles. And this highway will be used to deliver goods and food and pharmacy to between the cities automatically by drones. And these drones will be controlled by the sensors, which are going to be installed on the ground during the highway. And obviously, these sensors will generate a lot of data, but this highway in total will be used to deliver some important things for people. And the reason why I would like to start from it is that actually the first thing you need to consider when you plan your digital transformation, when you plan your data journey, is what is business value behind this data you are taking care about. This is a very important question because without it, I would say that it's not possible to measure the success of digital transformation to data-driven company. So it's always about time to value. It's always about importance of understanding what kind of value you can take from the data you already have. And usually, based on our experience, our customers see that there are a lot of data they have, but they're still not sure how to convert this data to the value. And this is the first and the most important question. So everything which I will discuss later should be taken from the prism of this business value assessment. Okay, so you understand the value, you have data, you deployed technology, you installed your system, and now everything works fine. Is it true? Probably not. To make it really successful, to make this transformation really successful, you need to consider several basic principles from our perspective. And here on this slide, there are 3 basic principles I would like to discuss in more details during my presentation. So let's start from the first one. The first principle is data center, public cloud, and edge. These 3 areas where your data could come from or where your data could reside. And the first one, historically, is data center, of course. So from our perspective, from our point of view, despite the very well-known opinion that data centers will be removed in the future and all data will be moved to the cloud, we are not agree with it. And our customers are not agree with it. And there are many reasons why. So there are actually risks to move all your sensitive data to public cloud. There are also legislation requirements, what we already heard from the previous presentation. There are cost consideration which should be taken. So it's still our forecast is. Can you hear me? So our forecast is that in the future, some of the data for the most organization will still be resided into data centers, in on premise. And of course, when most of the customers consider cloud journeys and move data to public clouds, there are also a lot of benefits from this cloud strategy. And this is completely different paradigm. When you have really unlimited compute power on demand, when you can actually scale your workload without necessity to buy new hardware, just when you need it. So it's a lot of benefits because of elasticity. But again, what I mentioned, most of the customers still consider to be hybrid, when some of the data are located on-prem in data centers and some of the data located in public cloud. And last but not least, the third area is edge. So this is actually these things from Internet of Things who are connected to your data network. And in the future, we expect that this third data source will become more and more important, because by forecast of analytics, by 2024, the average enterprise will generate 1.5 gigabytes of data per second. And we expect that most of this data will come from this third area, from things, from devices, from sensors, through 5G, through IoT technologies. So these three areas still actual, and still you need to consider to use all of them if you want to be successful and to build successful digital transformation of your organization. The second big principle is data distribution. So this is all about complexity. If you have a lot of data in different areas, in on-prem, in data center, in public cloud, but mainly or maybe in multiple public clouds which are using in your organization, and you have also a lot of sources of data from edge, from IoT devices, then it's very complex and very challenging for organization to build the system which can digest this data, transform this data, and then use it for analytics and for machine learning. And this data distribution is really challenging, and usually, based on our experience, most of organizations underestimate the complexity and the risk of this process. Of course, you can think that maybe one or two data engineers in your company can build a simple pipeline to digest data from some data sources, which is true. But then you need to support, to maintain this pipeline. And what if you need 100 or hundreds or even thousands of your pipelines? So the big question is who will actually do it and who will support it from people perspective. So it's very important that this area is underestimated, and you need to think in advance. How are you going to digest data, transform the data, and use this data? And the third principle is these three concepts, which are on this slide: the mesh, the fabric, and the lakehouse, which are quite important now. And maybe some of you, or maybe even all of them, heard one of these terms. But it's so important that let me maybe spend a couple of minutes just to explain what's behind these concepts. And I will start from the mesh. So the mesh is not a technology and not a product and not a software. The mesh is actually a desired state, desired future state of your organization when every business unit of your organization, every business area of your organization manage their data in their domain on their own and manage it as a product. So what does it mean? It means that because of growing of the volume of data, it's not possible to manage all the data of your organization centrally, because usually this central IT department or data management department is a bottleneck. And for such organizations, which are biggest banks, which are biggest telco companies, it's very important to give the flexibility to every business unit to build their own data domain, to maintain it, to be responsible for this data, and to be responsible for generating the value from this data. So in fact, it means that data becoming a product when every business unit understand again what is value in the data they are managing and how this data can be monetized. This is actually the mesh. So the decentralized concept of using the data as a product. The second concept is a fabric. The data fabric is a set of data services who actually can implement this decentralized meshed architecture. So this is a set of data services which helps people to build their own data domain and maintain this data domain, but still providing the unified security, the unified data lifecycle management, and unified data governance among the organization. And last but not least is data lakehouse. Data lakehouse, according to merging the data warehouse and the data lakehouse, which means that actually this is a new paradigm when you enrich your structured data in data warehouse by unstructured data contains in your unstructured data lake. And this whole structure should be flexible and should provide the flexibility to generate business analytics on top of this data and to use this data for machine learning. So these three components, mesh, data fabric, and data lakehouse, is one of the most modern paradigm of data management. And we think that these components are important to be considered when you plan your data journey. So let me finish my presentation with this call to action. Please be curious. Please ask, please think how this concept can be applied to your data, what is about for you. And please join us in our separate session, big data session. We will discuss in more details these concepts. And we also will have a panel discussion, and you can also participate and ask questions about hybrid, cloud, on-prem, etc. Thank you very much for your time.